My name is Dave Delaney, and I'm here to inform you about two people here in Canada. One is a Canadian, that is my niece, and the other one he applied to come to Canada through the Refugee Board. The Refugee Board provided him, his name is Ignacio Mendoza Gonzalez, provide him with another identity to protect him from, to be protected under the Canadian law. So the only thing is that I knew that he was leaving Colombia, and he applied for this refugee status, and they provided all sorts of false information. And I'm surprised that the RCMP never even bothered. Did they bother in checking the background check of Mr. Ignacio Mendoza? Because let me tell you, my family over there is mixed up with the Secret Service of DAS. I have a member of the family. He's in charge. He's the Secretary General in charge of Security and Immigration of Colombia. I have a friend of the family, Mr. Jorge Noguera, the director of DAS. And these two people planned my mother's death. So Ignacio had a nice reference for the Canadian immigration to leave the country. I see why the RCMP, they didn't want to even talk to me, because getting a reference from the DAS and members of the family that participated in the planning of my mother's murder, because they were involved in the operation of drug trafficking in my mother's farm and building numerous countless of laboratories to produce cocaine. So Marcela participated in putting a percentage of the money down, building all those factories. So the thing is, these people participated in the disruption of my mother's operation, and because they knew that my mother was a very experienced manager, and she knew how to deal with tough conditions. She replaced the entire workforce and replaced it for another one that's going to be loyal to her and no one else. And when they saw that, they saw they were losing a battle. So they decided to, they knew they had enough information. They were planning her death for quite some time. And then they decided to make a move on November the 2nd, 2004. They went to my mother's house, Marcela, 6 members of my family. But the 2 of them that I am zeroing right now, that I launched a lawsuit in Colombian justice system, and a lawsuit against Scandia, because Marcela committed robbery on my mother's pension fund. I'm not too sure how long that's going to take, but it will come to light sooner or later. And Marcela participated in the murder and the torture of my mother. My mother's right hand. She provided an alibi that she was not there because she used her phone. That she phoned my mother through her cell phone number, and that was not the case. Marcela was inside the house. So she had given her phone number to someone else to call her, because she wanted to produce an alibi that she was not there. She was inside my mother's house. She was the person that participated in the murder and torture of my mother and the robbery of all the documentation in searching for my mother's fortune and safety pins in order to get access to her money. So I informed the Canadian Embassy before they were going to come to Canada, but the Canadian Embassy, because there is an RCMP detachment there, they have an attitude, they just don't care. I wrote to them. They should have investigated the case when I wrote to them. They should have phoned my criminal lawyer. They were satisfied with the report of DAS, with members of my family that were involved, and they give an outstanding report for Jose Ignacio, and the refugee board bought into it. Now they're here in Canada. Now I'm telling you, the Canadian public, you must decide. These people committed a horrific murder. They murdered my mother. They cut her up her face. They scar up her face with a kitchen knife. Do you want these kind of dirtbags in your country? Do you want to be living right beside this type of dirtbags? Do you know that these type of dirtbags can do the same thing what they did to my mother? Do you want them here in this country? I see they don't live right beside the Prime Minister or the Attorney General's house. Because they don't care. Their policy in immigration and doing the background check is sloppy. It's unacceptable. And it's unacceptable for taxpayers. It's unacceptable for Canadian public. It's unacceptable for families with children. It is unacceptable to anyone that is a part of Canada. And I'm very sorry I feel very bad of what happened to my mother. It hurt me tremendously because what these people did to her. They have no mercy with her. So when you talk to the RCMP officers, they just don't understand these kind of people. These people are with the type of murder they commit. I can release all information over the internet or the web of what these people did to my mother, but anyone is going to read it. They might listen to my videotape. But it's important. It's important for the public to know that we must get rid of the conservative government. Their policy on immigration is making this country a very dangerous place to live. They're introducing a lot of rapists. I know another family that this woman had 10 children, and her partner raped her since the age of 12. And I've taken this woman to do her report to present her claim to the RCMP, and the RCMP had an interview with her for 1 hour. And when she came out of there, she could not understand what the RCMP was talking about, because the RCMP did not put themselves in the same level of education as her. Did not measure her skills or how she can respond and how she understands their questioning. They just don't care. They just don't care. They ask her about evidence. They got the evidence right beside their own face, their own children. She doesn't even know how old she is. I determined her age just by when the day she was raped and she had her first baby, and then determined how old her daughter is, and I added the two numbers together, and they gave me a year. She's 36 years old, and they got in the paperwork, the Canadian, and the RCMP, whoever did these background checks, put it that she is 40 years old, and she's not 40 years old. They didn't do the proper background check. The same as they didn't do it with Jose Ignacio. They did not listen to me, and they didn't respond to me when I wrote them a letter. So it's important. When the Canadian government calls an election, yes, remember, it's important for you to make a decision, because economic policy it does not provide you security. Security is a very important issue. Economies always goes up and down. It's always been, since I've been around here in Canada, it's always been the case. This wave goes up and goes down, goes up, goes down. The good days and bad days. So nothing changed with that. So I have to cut, and I will continue this conversation, and I thank you for listening to my lecture. My name is Dave Delaney.